Welcome back to another Explainer, where we unpack some of the absolute greatest mysteries of our world. Today, we are taking a journey to the coldest, most isolated, and frankly, the most misunderstood place on Earth. Yup, we're talking about Antarctica. We're going to examine the incredible claims, the chilling legends, and the truly profound geological truth about what actually lies beneath miles and miles of endless ice. Think about it. This is a continent twice the size of Australia. It holds 90% of the world's ice, and yet for centuries, it was literally just a giant blank space on our maps. Okay, let's dive right into this, because from ancient maps showing impossible coastlines to some seriously shocking modern satellite images, we are exploring a massive global debate today. Does Antarctica hold the frozen remains of lost ancient human civilizations, or are the heavily guarded scientific facts, the alien-like biology and prehistoric time capsules locked deep in the ice, actually the most mind-blowing discoveries of all? We're going to look at the evidence side by side. We have to start with this bizarre anomaly in the Ellsworth Mountains that really sparked global curiosity back in 2016. From above, there's this peak with four incredibly distinct faces, and it looks strikingly like the ancient pyramids of Giza, or even the step structures found in Mexico and Peru. Now, scientists offer a completely different counterargument, saying it is simply a natural mountain peak. But honestly, the near-perfect geometric symmetry of this thing, it has absolutely fueled intense speculation. To really give you a sense of scale here, this formation stands an imposing 4,150 feet tall. That is massive. And because of its wide base, sloping sides, and really strong alignment, independent theorists suggest that it could actually be a colossal artificial structure. The idea is that a highly advanced ancient human civilization built it, and it's now just buried under a mile of thick snow. They argue that early civilizations might have shared a global understanding of architecture, or maybe this was built for stability long before the ice ever took over. Geologists, however, have a completely natural explanation for this. They call it a nunatak. Basically, it's a completely natural marvel. Over millions of years, fierce winds, freezing temperatures, and relentless cycles of thawing and refreezing essentially carve the stone into sharp, triangular shapes. It's a process called freeze-thaw weathering, and geologists are quick to point out that we see similar pyramid-like peaks in places like the Swiss Alps, like the famous Matterhorn. But even the experts have to admit that having four near-perfect flat faces is exceptionally rare for a natural formation. So to understand if early humans could have possibly built these structures, we really have to look at the timeline of the continent's history. 100 million years ago, Antarctica was completely different. Fossil records actually show it was this lush, temperate rainforest with winding rivers and evergreen trees. But around 14 million years ago, the massive ice sheet formed. And here is the huge roadblock for the ancient civilization theory. Homo sapiens, our species, only emerged about 300,000 years ago. According to mainstream archaeology, that ice has been there way longer than we have. Yet that established timeline clashes dramatically with one of history's most puzzling documents, the famous Piri Reis map. Created in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral, what makes this map so extraordinary is that it appears to show the coastline of Antarctica, but without the ice. Historians like Charles Hapgood have argued that getting that level of accuracy in the 16th century would be completely impossible, unless the mapmaker was drawing from much older source documents. Hapgood theorized this points to a highly advanced prehistoric seafaring culture, one that mapped the world thousands of years before modern history even began, maybe during a time when parts of Antarctica were actually ice-free. Now, whether an ancient civilization lived there or not, the continent's extreme isolation, the months of complete darkness, and those howling winds have always bred some truly dark legends. Take a look at this chilling final log from a British whaling ship called the Jenny. Discovered in the 1840s by another ship, the Jenny was found frozen completely solid in the ice. The crew was reportedly still on board, perfectly preserved by the cold, just sitting upright at their stations. The last entry from the captain read, "No food for 71 days. I am the only one left alive." I mean, wow. It brilliantly and terrifyingly illustrates why this frozen wasteland is viewed with such dread. Those terrifying historical myths eventually collided with modern military might right after World War II. In 1946, the U.S. Navy launched the largest Antarctic expedition in history, led by Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Now, officially, Operation Highjump was just a massive military training and scientific mapping exercise. It involved thousands of men, dozens of aircraft, the whole shebang. But the myth? The myth tells a totally different story. Because the mission ended abruptly, weeks early, rumors exploded that Byrd's fleet actually encountered advanced flying discs. Later on, a supposed secret diary of Byrd surfaced, claiming he found a lush, hidden valley and a highly advanced subterranean city called Agartha deep within a hollow Earth. And following Byrd's missions, right through the Cold War, eerie reports began surfacing from remote research camps about elusive entities known as the Guardians. Witnesses claimed they saw humanoids up to 12 feet tall, with pale, ice blue skin that just perfectly camouflaged them in the snow. They reportedly had glowing eyes, could cause compasses and engines to inexplicably fail, and, get this, would deliver telepathic warnings to intruders, simply stating, "You do not belong here." Some theorists claim these are extraterrestrials, while others believe that the last remnants of that lost ancient civilization still protecting their hidden underground world. So the absolutely crucial point here is, how do we balance these incredible, persistent myths with reality? Because what glaciologists and biologists are uncovering right now is undeniably strange. In fact, it's almost alien-like in its own right. If there are no ancient builders or towering guardians down there, what is actually causing the bizarre anomalies we're seeing on satellite imagery?
While the answer lies deep underground. Using advanced satellite data and ice-penetrating radar, scientists have recently identified more than 400 subglacial lakes scattered all across the continent. Think about that. There is an entire hidden world of interconnected underground rivers and massive reservoirs sitting miles beneath the frozen wasteland. Some of these lakes are literally the size of modern cities. And they are kept in a liquid state, not by the sun, but by the heat radiating from the Earth's interior and the immense insulating pressure of the ice above them.
The most famous of these hidden worlds is definitely Lake Vostok. It is buried beneath nearly 4,000 meters of solid ice over in East Antarctica. And what is absolutely staggering about Lake Vostok is that it has been completely sealed off from sunlight and the Earth's atmosphere for an estimated 15 to 25 million years. When Russian scientists finally drilled down and reached the surface of the lake in 2012, they broke through into an environment that hadn't been touched by air since long before humans even walked the Earth. And this next part brilliantly illustrates the real scientific magic of Antarctica. Over in the dry valleys, there is a 5-story high waterfall flowing out of the Taylor Glacier. The water is blood red. I mean, it looks like a gruesome scene straight out of a science fiction movie. Naturally, this led conspiracy theorists to claim it was a leak from some secret underground lab, but the reality is pure chemistry. 5 million years ago, an ancient ocean was trapped under the ice. Sitting in the dark, it became super salty and heavily rich in iron from the bedrock. When extreme pressure finally forces that water out through a crack in the ice, the iron hits the oxygen in our air and instantly oxidizes. It basically rusts. It's quite literally a bleeding glacier. But honestly, the red water itself isn't even the craziest part. Hidden inside these pitch-black subglacial lakes and the iron-rich flows of bloodfalls, scientists discovered extremophiles. These are microorganisms that survive in environments we used to think were completely hostile to life. They live in absolute darkness with zero oxygen, and they feed entirely on iron and sulfur. They are thriving in extreme isolation. Now, why does this matter to us? Because they give us literal, living clues about how extraterrestrial life might exist right now on icy moons in our own solar system, like Jupiter's Europa or Saturn's Enceladus. It's a game changer. So we are really left looking at two very different versions of the exact same frozen continent. A lot of the internet views Antarctica as this new Area 51, believing its incredibly strict international treaties are just a cover to hide crashed UFOs, ancient pyramids, and secret military bases. But the scientific reality is that it's an irreplaceable global time capsule. By drilling deep into the ice, scientists can pull up these cylinders of ancient air that literally record millions of years of our planet's climate history. It allows us to see exactly how Earth's atmosphere has changed over time. And that brings us to the most pressing reality of all. The Antarctic Peninsula is currently warming faster than nearly anywhere else on Earth. The ice is slowly melting, the glaciers are retreating, and the pristine, frozen isolation of this landscape is starting to break down. Which leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative question. As the ice continues to vanish, what secrets, whether they be hidden ancient geology, bizarre biological life forms, or devastating climate data, will soon be revealed from Earth's great unknown? The forbidden continent is thawing, and the truth, whatever it may be, won't stay buried forever.